And water, selling water, or, you know, here in the city?
I think the concept they proposed in the rate study of selling the idea of an annual rate of inflation increase, 3-4% is a good way to go. It's just that initial hurdle. I like the idea of reallocating some of the debt reduction. Because that way the residents don't see,
Right, they're already paying it.
they're already paying that. I have to look, see how we can equate that to our other regionalization customers, but I think that's the way. And the debt reduction fee generates, I'm gonna say around $700,000 a
The
year.
debt reduction, 750.
Okay, that's what I thought. So if you take that in terms of total revenue, that's about a 25% rate increase. If you get part of that, that's
Mhm,
bigger hit, and the residents are used to paying it.
right.
Um,
I think that's what-
We have not had a rate increase since
Right,
2018,
I know it's been.
which while costs continue to rise,
Mhm.
Right.
when that line passes, what we're bringing in.
And I think where you get,
Yeah,
I think where you get confused, you know, oh, we're good, we got $1 million in our reserve.
yeah,
So what that bought 20 years ago, it only buys about a third of that today.
yeah.
I have, Dave, if I can jump back in.
Sure.
Yeah, $750,000 estimated. This loan is scheduled to be paid off. Our final payment will be in July of 2026. I calculated out, I did this a while ago, what our cash balance was in 19, how much we'll bring in 2021, 22, in 23. At that time, I estimated that we should be able to stop the payment on the account, have, you know, the customer collection at the October, November of 23.
Mhm.
Then we should have enough build up in there to pay off the
Mhm.
payments for that remaining
And
time.
that's what you and I talked about.
Yeah. So, but but I need to do like a real true amortization. That was my very,
So that would give
I mean,
us-
it's pretty darn close.
That's
but-
kind
So that would
It's
give
gonna be
What I
us,
calculated.
that would give
Yeah.
us 2 years of
Mhm.
using the debt reduction money that people are already paying.
Well,
No,
but
she's got 2 years to still collect
collect
it.
it.
And
I
then,
still
Towards the
have
loan.
2 years
Yeah.
to
Right.
collect
Collect
it,
it.
but
Would
then
be
after,
2
once
years.
we stop, you know,
Once we have
If-
enough money in there to pay that loan, we'll have to do legislation
Right, there'll be another ordinance that needs to
Terminates
pass.
fee. And then if you want to continue to collect that fee, we'll have to pass new legislation
To say,
calling it something else.
right,
So that the
right,
bill never changes for the customer, but
right.
that money goes into a different account for
I
sure.
think that's what we
it
need
would
to
have to
do.
go into another
better
fund.
than
It would have
Right.
to be its own separate fund for,
Because, you know,
whatever
we
you
don't,
decide.
we don't want to be like we were with the water department, you know, here 20 years ago, we were struggling, we were, you know, what are we gonna do? What, now, then it all hit us with the expansion. They went out, you know, and then here we were holding the bag
Right.
with nothing.
And
Now
you take
does,
that-
since the ethanol plant's opened back up, does that help?
no, there are 0 discharge plants.
Okay.
We'll get wastewater,
Darn.
$17 a month.
Right,
But if you take that off the bill, then all of a sudden now we're going back and say, hey, we need more money from. it.
right.
So it's a double edged.
Yeah.
Right. Or
If
be
we keep
sure
on the bill
we
and don't
also
increase rate.
Say
You're still paying the
a year
same.
from now, we cut it down by half, still put half in it longer, as long as there's
But
enough
you're 4
revenue
years,
to
you're
pay them.
4 years behind.
That's-
well,
yeah,
if you cut it
23.
in half,
Yeah,
you're
the
gonna
idea
have
is
to change the
We're already
legislation.
4
Right.
rates,
Once Sherry
4
knows the
years
exact
behind
time
on
period
raising
that we have enough
rates.
money to pay that
Right
loan.
now, we
Then we'll
haven't
simply do
raised.
new legislation
Makes them an
creating a
18.
new
Right.
fee,
Yeah,
Right,
the exact same amount.
Mhm.
And a different account that
Mhm.
that money will go into. So the amount that the customer pays would never change.
Right.
Other than incidental raises that you may do. But the money would then start flowing into an infrastructure account.
Yeah, water capital
Yeah.
improvement.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So we got some time to think about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
plenty.
Where do we stand at, David, as far as the city's rates compared to our neighbors? Do you know that?
And that's one thing that Sherry and I've talked about is we try to figure out what the village of West Lafayette will bring in. It was estimated, but it's gonna probably bring in about a third less than that because their rates, your rates are a third lower than theirs. Even without all their 10% increases, you're still a third lower than them. So when you looked at their revenue stream, it's hey, they're doing 400,000 a year billing. Well, we're gonna bring in 280 probably because our rates are cheaper. Now, Warsaw, you can't count because they're cheaper than ours. They're so low that it's not even applicable. I haven't checked with some of the other big cities, but I know Cambridge just did a nice, I think 10 to 12% increase again, addressing these issues.
Okay.
The other thing is, the 20 feet water line has been approved by OEPA. Last update I had, he's supposed to start next week or two, Max. So you've heard anything different from that?
And Ronnie sent out an email
Right.
today to Tucson because we want to get that project completed before they quit making asphalt. Because part of that project is we're completely redoing 20th Street.
Right.
So we need the asphalt.
Yeah, the
to put
water
that
breaks
street
have
back
destroyed
together.
the street, so.
I really don't want those people running on limestone all winter long or trying to plow snow on limestone.
Right. Other two things I think we talked about the other meeting, where we do the grant applications for the 5 million towards the Warsaw water line project was submitted. We submitted another grant application, about 4.6 million for the Hartscrabble Hill Reservoir. So those are in. Everything I'm hearing, we've got a good chance for the 5 million towards Warsaw.
It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
One thing, Dave, while you're right there on that subject, Roger asked a question about, there's about a list of 10 projects that Dave and I come up with for House Bill 168 money. Yeah, like some, we're not going to get all that, but those projects are there, that's like replacing digesters.
Yeah, that was what, 2.25 million.
Yeah, so there was no sense writing grants on all that once the Warsaw project become number one, because 5 million would probably be good if we got that in this county.
Do you have a list of those projects, Dave, you can send the council and show them?
Yeah, we have our, we
We got that.
do that. So we did that. From the distribution side, we're still focusing on, working on shut-offs, trying to, get every penny out of our current revenue stream. And just worthless trivia. When it goes back to infrastructure, we had a major water break across from McDonald's. About 5 hours, we pumped 3.6 million gallons out on the ground. Half of this time was looking for valves. That finally we found some red line drawing in the bottom of the, said, well, that valve didn't exist. All the other drawings showed it exists. And to put that in perspective, we only pump about 6 million a month to West Lafayette. We started at the end of April. By next week, we'll have pumped 50 million gallons to them from April, let's say from May 1 till, let's say, next week. We're just now approaching 50 million at West Lafayette.
Which is on target. with what we-
Pardon?
Which is on target with what we said. that
Yes, in
was.
terms of volumes, yes. Like I say, any other questions, just let me know and we'll be happy to answer.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, we're never low on the list of projects and what needs to be done.
Okay, next, just let the committees know, council know that, going to create another committee. It's going to be a liaison between Port Authority and City Council. So we can start opening up communication. I talked with Mark today, and Roger, and I've spoken with Tom and Michelle. And Roger, Tom, and Michelle are going to be on the committee, just so we're getting information, knowing what direction our city's going for the good of the city. Because everybody I talk to on council, we want, our goal is for city expansion and for the city to do better. And I think if we open up this communication, if we think the tentative agreement, I think with Tiffany is that Roger would probably meet with her once a month, and she will come to committee meetings every other month. Or more often as needed. That way, if something would be brought up, hey, what about, is something being done? And then Roger or myself or somebody on the committee could say, without giving too much information because of disclosure agreements, we could say, yeah, we think that we feel pretty strongly that something's being done with this without giving out too much information. So with that, we have Tiffany here tonight. So
yeah, I think maybe it's important to you, for any of our viewers or guests that don't truly understand what the Port Authority's mission is, that we just kind of hit on that quickly as we move forward. So the Port Authority is the Economic Development Resource Center. We do serve for the city of Coshocton, of course, as well as the county as a whole, connecting business, industry, financial resources, government, and education to promote growth and prosperity. So That is a really big umbrella of reach that we have. And we do have a small office. So it's myself, Jen Robinson, she's our executive assistant. She is part-time. And then we've utilized our relationship to get Sharon Gibson in for 2 years, completely paid for with a grant that we have. So that's really exciting to have that extra help because we have a ton of projects going on right now. I also think it's important to do a quick overview of the projects that we have done in the last 4 years. And we really kind of realize that's something that we want to share with the community as a whole as well. And so Kirby Hossman has helped us with a publication that's going to be going out the last quarter of this year that really kind of highlights over the last 4 years. Here are some of the things that this office has done. It's a real quick read. Of course, you guys will have that before it goes out for general circulation, and we're kind of working on how we're going to distribute that as well. And there's going to be a lot greater focus too on our social media efforts as we now have Riley Leecraft starting as our content coordinator. And so she's going to be helping us build content and make sure that we're sharing that with the community as well. Truly, we've just been so reactive in the last few years out of necessity. We don't want to let the ball drop on anything. And so we've been very, very reactive. Haven't really had an opportunity to be in a planning mode. Now we finally do. And so a couple of the things that I just want to hit quickly on some of the items that we do to be kind of proactive in our approach. One of those is called BRNEs. Those are business retention and expansion visits. We started that really when I first came to the Port Authority office. In an effort to make sure that we had touch points with all of our local industries, that we knew how they were doing, what their challenges were, what their strengths were. In 2019, we were awarded, it was APEG at the time, it's Ohio Southeast Best Practice Award for our BRNE programs. And really in the last 4 years, that has resulted in 4 major expansions here in Coshocton. So ITM was our first one, moving 85 employees from downtown, the plaza area into what was a lease situation into building ownership. And then in addition to that, they created 25 new jobs. Of course, COVID made many of those guys work from home, and now they're kind of back in that building and they're regaining that traction. That was a recipient of $240,000 in Jobs Ohio money, complete grant money to a city business to utilize in that expansion. We had Schlabel Wood Design, was also a Jobs Ohio expansion project, a large employee count there. Crozier Welding, that was a relocation and an expansion, also bringing Jobs Ohio grant money into our community and providing for jobs for those that may be working here in the city of Coshocton as well. And then MFM expansion, many of you guys are very familiar with that, as we actually did some tax incentives for them with that expansion. It was an $8 million capital investment here in the city of Coshocton. You can drive by now and see the progress. It's incredible. Promising 21 full-time new jobs. Again, bringing in $275,000 into our community in Jobs Ohio grant money. So those are big contributions over the last few years that have happened with job creation, capital investment, and grant money coming into our community. Those projects have resulted in a total of $15,047,000 in capital investment, 268 jobs retained, 110 jobs created, and a total of $1,485,000 in free grant money right here in our community. Over COVID, we were really quick to act. We realized when that hit that truly there was going to be some struggling from our small businesses. They were going to be concerned about rent, utilities coming up in the future months. We were able to campaign with some of our local businesses, our local foundations, and got about $100,000 in grant funding here in our community. And this was before any of the state or federal programs were being developed. We were able to act that quick. More than 75% of those assisted were businesses within the city of Coshocton. We were able to put that money right back to them to help for that process. We also have a revolving loan fund in our office. So our local businesses can actually come in, talk to us about their projects. They can utilize that as gap funding for their expansion projects. All 4 of our revolving loan fund recipients have actually been city businesses as well. So we're excited to report that all 4 of those businesses are actually doing very well. That loan has went out in the amount of $175,000 to those businesses to help capture that gap or help them through that period. In addition, we're continuously working to find additional grants that might work for, maybe it's the city, maybe it's our businesses here within, maybe it's for infrastructure. One of the things that we're actually working on right now is for a road project. And so we're constantly attending meetings, listening, what's the next legislation that's coming out? How can we utilize that relationship to make sure that we're getting money here in the community? Projects that we are currently working on right now, and there's a big list of those. And of course, I'm going to be able to tell you the things that I can. A lot of what we deal in is confidential. The business community's trust in our office is of much importance. If they think that we're not going to be able to keep that confidentiality, then they're not going to come to our office. We're not going to be able to help connect them to the people that can help them through their challenging time, or if they're expanding, be able to get them some additional money to help offset those costs. And so one of the things that we really focus on is maintaining those strong relationships with our local businesses, making sure that we're checking in on them on a regular basis. Of course, we market Coshocton. That's a 24/7 operation for us, making sure that we're putting out ideal messaging to our outside communities, drawing that population in here, but really also inspiring them, the rest of our community, to also be our marketers. We think that that's very important. We're of course right now collaborating with Genesis Healthcare System on their $45 million project. Of course, that's located within the JED. And we also assisted with New Points and Coshocton Materials as well. We have been blessed really to receive $375,000 from the Coshocton Foundation that helped us acquire the Coshocton Collaborative Building. We all know that is the former Pastime Theater building. That is officially in the Port Authority's ownership as of September 8th. We were also then able to utilize our plans for that for a Jobs Ohio Vibrant Communities grant in the amount of $690,000. That grant money is going to be invested right here in downtown and also leveraged as match money for the EDA grant that's going to help us really be able to finish that collaborative effort. And that's a co-working space, a maker space, and an incubator for our small businesses. We certainly are happy to give tours too of that building. It's really one of the best kept secrets here in Coshocton. So let me know if you're able. We'd love to take you through, really talk to you about our plans. We have a visioning session with our architect on Thursday. Of course, we are currently working with any prospective buyer. We have got 2 sites right now that are located in the city of Coshocton that we are preparing with these potential buyers, making sure that they understand what utilities are on site, if any of those are problematic, what we need to do to move those utilities so that it's a developable property for them at a reasonable cost. We're currently working on 2 of those properties right now. So that's very exciting. And sometimes that takes longer than what we wish, but that is the importance of that confidentiality because they don't want someone else to come in and snag that property from them. Of course, we're working with the Coshocton County Commissioners on their transformational broadband project here in Coshocton. At surface level, it's a broadband project. It's so much more than that. We are going to be able to attract businesses. We're going to be able to attract a population here because we're going to be completely lit up. That is so exciting, and it's really capturing the attention of a lot of investors outside of our area as those articles start to get published. Of course, you're all aware of the Justice Center that would be potentially located on the on the steel ceilings property. That has been a remediation project that we've been working on for years. We're really excited to be nearing the end of that. Of course, then too, helping everyone on that Justice Center committee understand the site. There's so much more in working with the EPA and making sure that that's ready to go. And so we're currently on kind of the campaign trail, making sure that our community understands the components of the site and being very transparent with that so that they know that they can ask those questions. We've also been working on a Skip Farrell property that's going to be acquired. It is acquired already by the Port Authority. It will be transferred to the county commissioners. That building will come down as it's in the floodplain and it will become green space. We were successful in receiving 2 grants to be able to do that, as well as some private funding as well. We're hoping that that transfer will happen within the next month and you'll start to see some demo work on that site. We also, of course, just on a regular basis are fielding calls from potential entrepreneurs that are looking to start new businesses, connecting them to the Small Business Development Center so that they do have all of the resources that they know, whether they're in a startup phase or they're a mature business and need some helps with just specific skill sets. Maybe it's marketing to a specific demographic. We make sure that they're connected to those people that are able to help them if we are not. Jenny Penny's was one of our most recent businesses that we helped facilitate with the Small Business Development Center. They're up and running. Of course, they had a setback with COVID recently, but they are doing well. The renovation is incredible, and so we're excited for them. And then, of course, we are continuing our work on the Columbus to Pittsburgh corridor project. Today, we actually had an opportunity to fill a coordinated transportation bus with many officials, including the director of ODOT, and take them on a tour from 16 and 60 clear to Harrison County. That is, of course, prime time because the transportation bill is scheduled to hopefully be passed within this week. Should that happen, we want to be right in all of the people's ears that need to hear this. And it was a fantastic day, well spent. As we drove through the corridor, we were able to weigh out all of that potential investment and the investment that's happened in the last few years. Really make them see that the initial feasibility study that was created should no longer be considered by any means because we blew that sucker out of the water long ago. So that was actually the majority of my day today, and we're looking forward to following up on that conversation repeatedly to make sure that that happens. So those are just a few of the things that we're working on right now. Our days are very, very busy. In between all of this work, we are touching base with other people in our community that are looking at developing and really trying to keep up. But we are very blessed to be able to do that. Of course, we are here to serve you guys as well. So if there's any matters of concern, we do want you to bring those to us most definitely. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have right now too.
Just a couple comments. When you do come to our meeting, I don't know about anybody else, but I will say I don't care about what's going on in the county, but I'd like to specifically hear what's going on in the city. I don't care what's happening in Rayland or
Sure.
New Straitsville or wherever. Whatever deals with the city, if you could emphasize that. With the purchase of the theater, and I know I've talked to you when I heard that first happened. I think a completion of that theater, so Coshocton would have its own Midland type of theater should be a goal toward the top of that project.
Absolutely.
And whatever we can do, and this is probably us with you and whoever, we need to push to clean up the Answedmont area. West Rock, I know there's some things going on there, but I always hear, and I've heard it from the previous Port Authority people and other people, there's no room in the city for an industrial park. That's because we have crap occupying land space that could be a great site for an industrial park. So whoever owns that property, we need to start leaning on them to get it cleaned up or give it up.
It's actually, Roger, just been transferred to a different owner. Jeff's contacted them about cleaning the property up.
And hopefully our nuisance ordinance will apply to that place. And whatever you can do to continue to push the Columbus to Pittsburgh corridor, that's been going on since Joey Paget and Dave Longaberger.
Joy was on the bus today.
So
Yes, she was.
that needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I didn't hit on was leveraging our relationships to get human capital here. So what I mean by that is Sherry Gibson being in our office for the next 2 years is so valuable to our office because she has a work kind of mindset when it comes to capturing students and getting them into career fields here. We also, through Omega and that same grant that we got Sherry through, are working with Hammond Consultants. So Max and Mark were able to join us for a stakeholder meeting where we really kind of sat down and talked a lot about what are our challenges, what are our strengths, what do we need to focus on to make sure that we're looking really at a 10-year kind of focus, truly because economic development takes time. So a lot of the things that we started working on just 4 years ago, you're now seeing build out like with MFM. It was one of the first meetings that we had when I started. And so having these free grant or strategic planning sources here that are working specifically for us is going to be a huge value, and making sure that we're really piecing all of this together. And hopefully what each person's kind of working on is going to make for a very nice long-term strategic plan for economic development here. Any other questions? Comments?
Anybody else?
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. Mayor, you have a report for us?
I have a couple things.
Okay.
Did you get emails from Max with the couple, what do we have, zoning and?
I got one from Jeff
There were a
about,
couple,
I got
yeah.
one from Jeff about,
Change.
city owned, changing the dimensions of the
Right,
lots.
yeah.
So I got that from Jeff.
Right.
And the one I got from Max was the, what we already went over. And then, we got the mailing or on the agenda, the thing about Ferry Falls.
Okay, cool. There was something, I just wanted to make sure you
Yeah.
guys got that and we get to me, the zoning one is important because land bank has land that we want to get developed. So to me, it's more of the size of the footprint of the house. We have houses now that are built, we were out the other day and we were in between houses that were 5 feet apart.
Is that
So,
the issue that come up about 6 or 8 months ago? As far as changing,
yeah, as far as changing and
we
I
dropped
think
it
the
for
most
the time
simple.
being.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the most simple way to do it is go by the footprint of the house and the side setbacks. Front and back setbacks are important, but side setbacks, just so we're not building something up against. And we'll talk more about it. I think square footage of the structure compared to square footage of the lot, I think that's,
I think it's something we need to look at.
yeah, well, we need to, instead of doing case by case, and if you want to do it ward by ward, or I think the most simple way to do it is just go with the standard side, so how far it is in between each structure, and that's the easiest way. I think, we need to go with that. The ASME agreement is done, and I ask that you pass that through tonight. The agreement keeps the terms and the benefits of the city employment competitive, similar to municipalities, and is in line with other public employment bargaining agreements recently negotiated across the state. The agreement allows the city to move forward with providing excellent services and continue our program to provide safe and affordable water, wastewater, street, and cemetery services for the city. So want to thank our employees. They were a joy to work with. We didn't go to fact finding. We had no issues whatsoever. I don't want to say we didn't have any issues, no major issues, and we got through the contract. So that's the second contract, and I'm glad that one is over with. So
Are there any major changes with that one?
the raise was 2.25 for 3 years. The really Cobra insurance rates are held at 15%. There was nothing, Max, is
We
there
had a
anything?
Juneteenth.
Right.
Okay.
We switched around some holidays and, yeah, nothing major to where,
Changes.
we're competitive. We try to give our people the tools to do their job, and they do it pretty well, and would like to thank them for a pretty simple negotiation. Also, the railroad, want to thank Genesee, Wyoming, and Ohio Central for brush hogging along with the tracks. Both sets, there are some weed eating issues that we've been promised will be fulfilled. So with that said, we have other property, the old Edmont property. Once we clean up the railroad property, then you see that. So, and I've been told before by people, well, look at their property. We're looking at everyone's property. So just ask that you have high weeds, or you have a place that you think needs some attention. Most of the places we know about, if we don't, please log on, please call. Jeff is on vacation this week, so if you call and he doesn't get right back to you, That's why he's not ignoring you this week.
Who owns the property at the corner of Sixth and Locust that the tree fell on? Is that in the land bank? Is that
That is still,
ours or is that still in a property
that
owner?
is still in limbo.
I know I sent Jeff a text, it needed mowed.
It got mowed. Now it needs weeded along the curb. Yeah.
I didn't know if they
there's-
still owned it or not.
No, it's,
It's in probate or something.
Well,
You're trying to probate it.
They're not gonna probate it. so
Yeah.
right,
It's still in
it's,
the deceased parents.
right, so,
MFM. And their hill of weeds.
we kind of have just left them alone
Okay.
on their hill of
Probably
weeds.
still.
They have a flag, I mean, it looks at least.
Well,
the
I know when
flag's
I'm
up
at that
there.
stop sign,
You
I
can't-
have to
you
pull
can't
You
see.
can't
out
see.
because you can't
We,
see.
we can reach out to them
Huh?
and see what we can do.
When will they be
Where
done
they
on that
pile
road?
dirt to put the
There's-
Blocking the road.
It should be fairly quickly. They're gonna put new sidewalks, curbs in.
Okay.
Want the glove factory, I'm not making any promises here, but there are demo permits on the glove factory. So in the next couple weeks, you should see something on the glove factory. And if not, we always have plan B for if plan A don't work out. So
What kind of fee came in for that? For the demolition? Because don't we have a demo fee?
yeah, whatever the demo fee was, I
You're talking about
don't,
Sabalas?
yeah.
Did they pay that yet?
No, not yet. I'm seeing that.
They got the permit,
Okay.
Jeff talked to them, so I'm
I
not
didn't
sure
check
where
that.
where the
Yeah, we
process is.
reduced that way down from what we used to have for demo.
So
The Kodak building, the old Kodak building,
Permit.
old Chinese.
it's coming down.
Yeah, that was purchased by,
CBA.
Because I thought we talked about it here a while back and,
they're gonna make a parking lot.
and that house right beside it too.
It's gone all the way to the alley, so
Thank you.
that will be coming down the old, the photography, the Chinese restaurant.
Good.
That will be coming down as well, so it's a process. The Ferry Falls purchase, the agreement to buy the property will be tonight, and then we will have to have an appropriations and next meeting appropriate money to purchase Ferry Falls,
At what cost?
$10,000. So
It was on one of the documents I saw or
I
something.
think it's on the ordinance.
Yeah,
It's on the
so
ordinance.
I think
I saw it somewhere when I was reading over it.
I think it's more than fair. When you get into litigation and fighting with people, things can get drug out, and that's not what we want to do. And we've talked, and let's,
I think it's a good move. I
I do
just hope,
too.
we know it needs repaired. But I don't want to see us take money from any of other future projects to fix that. That's got to fall in line somewhere. It's
so
definitely.
it needs drainage. And I want to put drainage there and fix it right and fix it proper. If anyone wants to know where the right of way is, go out and there's stakes, and there's spray paint. So basically that includes, a water main. So if something happens, then we rip it up. It's our responsibility. So there is some thought put into it, and I'm glad to put that one to bed. So
Before I forget.
And I would
I'll get
point
you a
out that
W-9.
even if we
You'll have to
tried to take that property by eminent domain and we were successful, we're still required to pay for fair market value of the property we're taking, which I assume would have been
Probably more than
at least that amount, yeah.
right.
that.
So
I
I
have a
think.
problem with that cost.
I think it's a fair deal, and it's not in limbo, and whose is it to fix, and it's just done and over with, so.
Hey, Mark,
What
quick
a-
question.
Yeah.
I'll go out there as soon as possible and see. Is it still gonna be serpentine or are we straightening it out a little?
It actually, there's on the, I
There's a
believe you
diagram.
guys got a
There's a-
diagram on emailed to you. It kinda, when you're coming down Ferry Falls, it kinda it wise out at the end. But it just basically follows the path of the water main. So like I said, it's easier, to me, it's easier just to go out and walk it, cause then you can see it. On
Perfect.
paper, you're kinda like, huh? wanted to just mention events going on around town that aren't really good for our town with the bank robbery and with the incident that happened over the weekend in Roscoe. Want people to know that they're safe. Also want people to know, the medical community, the health departments, the hospitals, the EMS, the sheriff's office. I want to thank them for their work. What's been going on it's been pretty wild. Just want people to know they're safe. Want people to know if you have an issue, if you have a family member that has an issue, reach out for help. I've said it a million times. If you can't find anyone else to call the mayor. I will put you in touch with who you need to be put in touch with. The worst part about life is the people who need help the most don't reach out for it. So just want to say, been thinking a lot lately about human capital as well, and human mental stability and just where we are and where we're headed. Look out for your neighbor, and if you see something, say something, and let's help each other out. We don't have anyone else to get us through this. We are the only people who can get us through this. So want to let people know, if you need to call me, if you need anything, please call this office. If you feel like you're lost and need a place to turn to. I think I am pretty good. You want to elaborate on where the money, the appropriation, or how that process will work for that purchase on Perry Falls?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's what I asked him for earlier there. So 401 capital improvement, actually, I'm gonna set up a new line item just specifically for the real estate. So once they pass the appropriations in the council meeting at 2 weeks, so you will have some kind of closing
Right.
statement, agreement, something that we can then issue a check, and that's where I say I don't get a W-9 for you to give to the property owners, because I'll have to issue them a 1099 after the first of the year for the sale of that real estate. So, but that's where it come from, the 401 capital improvement fund.
Awesome.
So we need to pass 38, 20, 21 tonight too.
All three.
All
Yeah,
three
Yeah.
to make
And
sure.
then
Okay, so you
we're-
can sign
right,
that
and then
to
we're-
purchase
yep.
that. Okay.
Most definitely. I appreciate it. One more thing, COVID numbers are not getting better in our community. So, if you're sick, stay at home. Hospitals overloaded. To me, it's not political, it's human. It just do whatever you believe that's going to get us through this the quickest. To me and my beliefs, if I was mayor, if I was Mark Mills, Joe Schmo citizen, I would get vaccinated and wear a mask. If you don't want to do that, in a year, 2, 3 more years, this could mutate. It could get worse. It could get better. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. Just ask that everyone protects themselves from sickness and protects the rest of the community from sickness. If you're quarantined, stay at home. I know the health department's overwhelmed. They're trying. We have limited staff, and just ask for the community's help on staying safe.
Mark, you might want to touch on, I sent it, you guys get the emails that go out to everyone, don't you? For our health fair?
Oh,
Yeah, we
yes.
got
Okay,
I got that.
okay.
Yes.
You have a date?
You have,
I don't have a date yet confirmed by the hospital,
They're
so
kind of.
they're 13th to 14th, those are the two they're looking at, but we'll try our best to have it.
Right.
And that's
With-
during the day? Like
Yeah,
in
it's
the
usually
morning?
early morning, we
Yeah,
start.
but there's no, Sherry's gonna pass out candy, but you're not gonna sit and hang out with her. We gotta keep
They
her
want you to
healthy.
We'll have-
fast, though. For the blood
Yeah.
work. they want you to
So
fast.
when
Yeah,
will
council's
you
welcome
know,
to join
right,
them.
when will you
I
know
don't
for
know,
sure?
I hope I get an answer from Melissa here within the next, couple days. But yeah, council, it'll be new for you guys, or for you, Michelle, did you do the blood fair last year? I'm all messed up on my terms. But yeah, we usually start like at 7 in
Did
the
you call it a
morning. We
blood
start at
fair?
appointments.
I thought that was what we
Health
called
fair.
council meetings.
Health
blood
fair.
bath.
Right.
Health fair, not the
It's a blood
blood.
bath.
I meant to say blood work. They do a whole complete, it's a really nice workup that they do. You get like two, I mean, they test everything. So it's at no charge.
Okay.
So our insurance escrow fund pays for that because it's a lot, actually, it's a lot less expensive if we do it this way than if somebody on the insurance goes to the doctor, we pay
Well, and
2 times as
then,
much,
you know,
to have it done.
God forbid, the last couple years, people have found medical issues and getting that blood work
Yeah.
done. I did.
It's-
So
yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
definitely something to go and
Spouses at one time were included, are they no longer?
That's up to you with, for council spouses, that's
that's
up to you.
fine. To me, that's fine.
I have a question about the manhole covers on Orchard Street. Are we getting anywhere with that? Mom,
Actually, it's,
So you emailed me about today.
I, 963, yeah.
3 Orchard.
yeah, the one that's about this deep.
About 2 inches lower than the pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try to get the lid off, today, it looks like the ring is cracked. I've contacted a contractor, come give me a price, so we'll have to relay that whole ring.
Mhm, okay, as long as, all right, thank you.
See
that's
the
all
cap,
it was.
Max?
Yeah,
Because
they said somebody
Street,
looked at it the
Kimberly
other day.
Vine,
Yeah, they were out.
There's a
looking.
cap that's missing.
Huh?
Saw that this morning.
Cause I'd say if a motorcycle hit that one on
Oh,
Orchard
it's
Street,
bad.
you'd be,
What was that number?
There's a
at
cap
nighttime,
on Cambridge.
you'd be right over your
and
hand.
Vine.
Too, I've mentioned
Yeah,
a
I
number
don't know if
of
there's a
times,
valve in
my
the middle of
house,
the street. with a
down by
valve.
Could be.
So right in the middle of the street, there's just the cap. I looked around for it.
It's on the list. It's just we haven't got to it.
Yeah, there's a,
Mhm, They
right.
were on the list.
they're still on the
Two
It
list.
is, that's what I looked out there and I'm like, wow.
I'm
Okay.
a best with my 6 guys.
So-
Where
we
we
at
with
downtown Wi-Fi.
Okay, so, you want me to address that after the meeting? Or you-
Go ahead and address it.
Tom just asked about, downtown
Why shouldn't
Wi-Fi.
the alternate have priority?
Hold on a second, guys.
Tom Barcroft just asked about downtown Wi-Fi. I've talked to Andrew Canidi actually today on it. The road needs to be bored under, the lines need to be ran, underneath Main Street. And the majority of the work is complete. It's based on another subcontractor doing a lot of the connection work. The city has a boring machine, so we're gonna help with that. And then it is up to how fast he can get that electrical contractor to pull some more wires and connect it. But we're getting there, and I want to meet with him also. There's been some legislation that I need to follow up on, whether you can create a municipal internet company or not. So I don't know. It was a couple months ago. I don't know if it passed, failed. It's just one of those moving parts that, just constantly, what's going on. So once that is, he said he's got a possibility of 10 customers already in downtown if and when that's complete. So we'll have to figure out how we are going to structure that program. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, 6:54.
We're gonna start meeting early.
No.
You're in charge of the Zoom meeting, okay?
Okay.
No problem.
Won't let you down.
Okay.
Hey, good evening. Today's Monday, September 27th. Regular scheduled council meeting is in session. It is 7:01. Clerk? Give you a second. Yes. Turn on the sound system, please. Good. Yep. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrew. Here. Norcross.
Here.
Mr. Rose asked to be excused. Johnson.
Here.
Mishler.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Make a motion to excuse Mr. Gross.
Second.
Johnson. Make a motion. Well, Commissioner. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for the beauty of this day. We thank you, Lord, for this community that we live in and the opportunity to serve the people that live here. Lord, we just ask your presence here tonight to help us with our deliberations. And we pray this in your name. Amen. Council, you were emailed the minutes from our September 13th meeting. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Made a motion. Seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
I'd like to add also the special meeting from August the 13th.
Yes, sorry about that.
Andrew.
And the special meeting from August 13th.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any public input? Anyone?
I think I do. I'm not sure if this is the time for this or not, but good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Step up to the mic, introduce yourself.
My name is James Elliott. I live on 1640 Cassingham Hollow Drive, in Coshocton, Revolving School. I just have a question regarding a code violation that I received for farm animal. I have a miniature horse that we have for our children. It was classified in this as a farm animal, but I believe it's more of a pet than a farm animal, as they're very small in stature. I'm not sure if you're familiar. I printed off a picture for like comparison of their like max height, they're like 38 inches tops, which is 2 inches taller than a Great Dane. I have a bunch of other information here. I also got a paper signed by my neighbor saying he's not a bother. I live on a half-acre property over there. I have a pasture set up for him. I have a small little shelter for him set up, so that you have elements and everything like that. He's very well fed, very well loved by my children. We have removed him temporarily until this obviously is over. He's currently being trained though, so they can ride him, but he's purely just a pet for my kids. And I don't know whether I have to like push for a like an exemption or like a change, like a verbiage for like, because this includes all animals, but it doesn't regard any miniature animals. I guess that's my spiel. If there's any questions I can fire back.
Did we receive a complaint?
Yes, Jeff actually knows more about the situation. I'm pretty well informed.
I can help out.
Yeah, actually, I think Bob will be way more eloquent with the way he explains it. Yeah, I will.
I think a neighbor of Mr. Elliott, that there's some difficulty in the neighborhood, called Mr. Corder and made the complaint as to the property code violation. Mr. Corder then instructed Mr. Elliott that he needs to remove the horse. Mr. Elliott came in, spoke to Mr. Corder saying down to me, and I explained to Mr. Elliott that I can't allow him to violate the law. And if he's not happy with the ordinance, then he needs to come to council to discuss possible changes, whether it be add another therapy type animal to our ordinance, whether it be change the ordinance to allow certain types of animals. If you have a certain amount of space, obviously Cassingham Hollow is a much different properties than if a miniature horse was on this lot across the street. Whether or not you want to make those changes, that's up to you. I can't give him authority to violate the law, neither can Jeff Corder.
Thank you. That's Bob.
I think this is this is something that we probably need to address.
Yeah, I think it's
Committee,
something we need to talk about.
we'll need to, we need to discuss this, and, we have your information and things, and I know Jeff probably has your information.
Yes.
We can get back with
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
you. Anybody else? Any public input? Okay, we have a request, to put, to add to the agenda, ordinance 33-21, an ordinance approving the settlement between the city of Coshocton and the ASME local 2551, and approving the funds necessary to implement the agreement, and authorizing the mayor or service director to sign a contract with ASME local 2551. Also, we want to add, it was requested to be added 3821, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or service director to sign all documents necessary for the city to purchase 0.4914 acres known as Ferry Falls Drive. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion, we add 3721 and 3821 to our agenda.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
We have a sheriff's report. It was emailed. We got a report emailed. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, auditor?
I'll catch you all up next month for the monthly reports. 2 weeks ago, though, I did tell you, I would, anytime we start to receive donations for a specific project, I need to have you approve it. So I passed out the report for you ahead of time. On 9/14/2020, we received from the Coshocton Foundation $8,234.60. That went into our 401 capital improvement fund. And then you'll have the appropriations in 2 weeks to be able to pay the bill, but the bill was $9,163.02. And then you see just the difference there. The city then completed the project there at the cost of $928. So I just need you to accept the donation in the minutes.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the donations.
Second.
Motion. Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, do you have anything else to add from the committee report you gave us?
No, I don't. I just want to, since JD's here live, I'd like to commend the sheriff's office for what happened over the weekend. There's never a day they show up to hurt anyone or to do anything ill towards anyone. They were doing their job. And once again, if someone needs help, whether it be drug help, mental health, anything, if you have nowhere else to reach out to me personally. It's been a wild month here for EMS, for the sheriff's office, and want to commend them on the job that they do to show up every day and protect us.
Max, you have anything? Service?
Not anything more than, we did complete our mosquito spraying for the year, last week. They come by my house about 2:30 in the morning, so, I don't know if anybody's seen any improvement, but we were able to spray 4 times this summer. And we always made sure that there was no rain in the forecast, so hopefully it's done some good, so.
Bob, law director, do you have anything?
You should have the August law director report that was emailed to you. Beyond that, I have nothing.
Jeff's not here. Okay. So we'll move into legislation. First reading, ordinance 37-21. Clerk?
An ordinance approving the settlement between the city of Coshocton and ASME Local 2551 and approving the funds necessary to implement the agreement and authorizing the service director to sign the contract with ASME Local 2551.
You've heard the reading, 37-21. Any questions?
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules, give it a second reading.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the second reading of 37-21.
An ordinance approving the settlement between the city of Coshocton and ASME Local 2551 and approving the funds necessary to implement the agreement and authorizing the service director to sign the contract with ASME Local 2551.
For the reading, the second reading of 37-21. Anybody have any questions?
Motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
Second. Seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the third reading of 37-21.
An ordinance approving the settlement between the city of Coshocton and ASME Local 2551 and approving the funds necessary to implement the agreement and authorizing the service director to sign the contract with ASME Local 2551.
You've heard the third reading of 37-21. The question is, should 37-21 be adopted? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 37-21 is adopted. Second legislation, 38-21. Clerk, please read 38-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents necessary for the city to purchase 0.4914 acres known as Berry Falls Drive.
You've heard the reading of 38-21. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second reading.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the second reading. Second reading of 38-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents necessary for the city to purchase 0.4914 acres known as Berry Falls Drive.
For the second reading. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion, we suspend the rules and give 38-21 a third reading.
Motion. Chad seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the third reading of 38-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to sign all documents necessary for the city to purchase 0.4914 acres known as Berry Falls Drive.
For the reading of 38-21. The question is, should 38-21 be adopted? Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Legislation at the first reading, 39-21. Clerk, please give the reading of ordinance 39-21.
Appropriations.
For the reading of 39-21. Anybody have any questions?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give a second reading.
I'll second.
Motion, Roger seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the second reading of 39-21.
Appropriations.
For the second reading, 39-21.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Clerk, please give the third reading of 39-21.
Appropriations.
For the second reading of 39-20, third reading of 39-21. The question is, should 39-21 be adopted?
Andrews. Yes. Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
The new business. Old business. Communications. You have anything?
I want to welcome Carrie back and just say glad to have her back up here in the office at least half days. I'm weaning her back yet.
I'm really glad she's back.
So,
I do appreciate the work that she did, even when she was unable to be in
Right.
attendance, she was still working from home and doing some things. That's greatly appreciated. Don't realize how much someone's missed until they're not here. So, thank you. Clerk, when is our next meeting?
Wednesday, October the 13th at 7 p.m. The committee will start at
5:30. The reason it's on the 13th of October 13th, because October 11th is Columbus Day and City Hall will close. I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I'll second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
All the good things.